Good morning. This is Wilderbird Farm, and we're going to do a pre-frost garden tour today. We are located in northeast Georgia between Athens and Hartwell. We're zone 8A, and our first expected frost date is November 1st. It is just before Halloween, and we've actually already had a light frost, very, very light, but as you can see, it was not a killing frost, so we got lucky there. So I want to do a real quick garden tour to kind of show everything before we get the killer frost. This is kind of taken over in my memorial garden, and I'm just kind of leaving it for now because I love it so much. This is blue mist flower or ageratum, and it is native here to Georgia, and it spreads really well by seed, and it pops up all throughout the yard, and the butterflies absolutely love it. And so I just kind of let it go wherever it's growing. There's some over there in the ditch, and some all up in here. And it is a very, very pretty purple. I don't know if it comes up good on the screen, but I love it. So this is the bed where we grew potatoes in the spring, and then we grew some sweet corn. And the sweet corn did pretty good. Ideally, we would have spread compost before we planted the sweet corn, but we did not. So we probably planted it a little bit too dense. We had one row on that side that just didn't do anything, so it just didn't have enough sun, I don't think. Everything else grew really good. It grew fast. We had it was peaches and cream, and we had small ears compared to what you would normally have, but they were nice ears of corn. They were all, this is probably a 6 by 20 bed, and it pollinated really well. I came out here with a stick every day once it started pollinating, and kind of agitated it to get it to spread really well. This is a really pretty fig tree that a friend gave me that's going to go in our future fig orchard. So this is all volunteer basil back here, the blue spice basil, and it just took over this area, so I gave it to it. I love that stuff. And this zinnia here was volunteer, and it's one of those cactus zinnias. I saved a bunch of seeds off of it, but I don't know how cross-pollination works with the zinnias, but this is a really pretty one. They've just now started to get that rust spot or whatever that zinnias get. So the green bean tunnel this year was kind of a disappointment. We had a lot of problems with germination in the spring. And then about halfway through the summer, but right when the green beans started producing, I herniated a disc in my back. So that kind of cut our green bean season short. However, these being rattlesnake green beans and a pole bean, you can leave them for drying, and that's what we did. We have about a gallon that we've saved so far, so not a complete loss. And these dry to a pinto bean, so we've got a lot of pinto beans, so that's great. So it wasn't a complete loss. It just, we're going to have to buy green beans. We're almost out. And that's going to be such a disappointment after a year and a half or more eating our own green beans that we grew. You can see we put our corn stalks out here at the end with my son's Halloween decorations. So then I also had tried to plant peas. We mulched really good and watered and watered and watered and put a bunch of peas down. And again, horrible germination. There's one pea there, one pea there, and I put down a lot of peas. But now it was an old, maybe a couple-year-old seed packet, so maybe they just weren't that great. Good morning, David. I hear you, dude. One thing that did germinate really well was all of the volunteer green beans. They're everywhere. I've been pulling them out and feeding them to the rabbits. We had really good germination on those. And then a friend of mine came over and she got all these calendula in the ground for me a couple weeks ago. So I'm hoping to have a really pretty calendula stand. The peppers did really, really great this year. I have them planted on a double row with okra down the center, but the okra only had 2 plants. So my son and I got out here a couple nights ago and went ahead and pulled all of the hot pepper plants because we had already stripped all the peppers off of them since we were supposed to have that frost the other night. And so we went ahead and gave all the fresh greenery to the chickens out there so they could have some greenery to munch on. I did leave a few of these Santa Fe Grande peppers because they have some small ones on them. And I left all the bell peppers on the back because there are a few bell peppers that we missed whenever we were picking for the frost. So I'm going to let those get as big as they can because it's hot this week. It's in the 80s. And I think it only got down to like 50 last night. So we had 2 nights of a really light frost. And then we're back to normal fall temps for here. An update on the peas. These are cow peas, purple hull peas. We picked everything because it was supposed to frost, and then it didn't. So there are some still ripening on here, some little ones. We got them in the ground a little late this year, so we didn't have the best. Excuse me. We didn't have the best harvest, but we do have some, so that's great. Mostly because of my back, I haven't been out here picking consistently, so we're going to have a lot of dry that I'm going to try to can. But I think we've got 1 bag of fresh in the freezer, green. We like to pick them green here before they dry and freeze. This side of the tunnel didn't grow as well. There wasn't near as many on this side as there was on this side. But you can tell there is some damage from the frost, but not bad at all. I mean, it's still got green, fresh tendrils trying to grow. Ideally, I would have gotten my tomatoes out earlier and gotten these peas in the ground earlier, but again, I herniated that disc in my back, so I wasn't doing a lot. And some friends come over and actually got these planted for me, so that was awesome. This was my pivot bed. These were bush beans, and we did get one really good, we got one really good flush out of these, 2 or 3 pickings. I was able to can some green beans. We did not like, these are the contender bit green beans. We did not like the taste of these as much as our rattlesnake green beans. We're definitely really big fans of the rattlesnake green beans. We also had something after we picked, we had something come in here and eat the tops off of a lot of them. So that kind of put them behind. And then we had that frost. I mean, they're still in there. They're still growing. There's still some green beans in there. But these, I'm probably going to run a chicken tractor. One of our chicken tractors is sized for these beds. And I'm probably going to run it through here before we get a real frost so that the chickens can eat what they can in there. And then I'll be planting onions. Or my husband will be planting onions. This was the eggplants. I didn't eat a lot of eggplants this year. They didn't do the greatest in this bed. All these beds were lacking in nutrition this year because I didn't get my compost out in time. But my friend that's been helping me, this is one of my compost piles out of the hoop coop. She already spread the other one that was over there. And we're going to get this one spread on all these beds to give them a good boost. Here's my onions. And these will be going in the ground in a month or so. Lots and lots of sweet onions. And I did put some peas in the back of this little raised bed. And these germinated, every single one of them. Most of these were out of a different pack though. But I did plant some of these same peas over there. Maybe those are the only ones that germinated. So this was my little experiment. I ordered a pack of Pro-Cut sunflowers when I ordered my onions. And these got put in the ground very, very late. And when we had the frost the other night, my husband wrapped this long skinny tarp all the way around this teepee, which that's why I put them on this teepee in case we needed to tarp it for the frost. Hi, David. And we put a chick brooder plate down in the bottom to keep them warm, and they were not bothered by that little tiny frost at all. So like I said, it's almost Halloween, and we're gonna have a nice bouquet of red sunflowers. So that's gonna be awesome, because we definitely don't have any frosts in the future. And these could really be cut now. I read that the red ones, you should wait till they open all the way. Oh, check out that little wasp I just about grabbed. So I'm waiting for these can probably be cut today. So if you were in my garden in the spring and you saw this giant green bush in the middle of, and you're like, what the heck is this? Do you need to whack this off? And I was like, no, trust me. It'll be worth it in the fall. And this is why this aster is absolutely gorgeous. I believe that it's a native aster. It is for sure a volunteer aster. And you see these a lot in tiny little, on the sides of the road and stuff, and they're just tiny little plants. But this one is massive. And I absolutely love it. You have to sort of walk around it. We tied it up because after the storm, it was just laying everywhere. So we tied it up so it's more of a organized bush rather than a sprawling octopus. And there's another one over here. And it's like in the perfect little spot beside my green stalk. I picked all my coleus off of the green stalk, sadly, because of the frost. So I had these huge dark burgundy spires of coleus at the top, which were gorgeous. And I love that dark burgundy coleus for October because it's very Halloween looking. I keep meaning to have my husband take the green stalk apart for me and set it on the seed tables. I've got some snapdragons and stuff to go in there. I've got a bunch of babies coming off the strawberries that I need to root. So that's another reason I was going to get him to take it apart so I can easily root the babies. So you got to come through here like this. So this is the winter garden. We pulled out all the tomatoes that were back here. I had paste tomatoes here, and I had left one because it was doing really well. It had covered in blooms, and it never would set fruit. I don't know for sure if it set fruit in the spring, but because it was planted with a whole bunch of other ones that all did set fruit. But it bloomed and bloomed and bloomed and never put on any tomatoes. So we finally chunked it to the chickens, and we took out all the cherry tomatoes that were left. So what I have going on here, we planted broccoli. Again, we got all this in the ground late, so this is all mainly going to be for overwintering, and we'll expect, if it makes it through the winter and we don't have any really, really super cold temperatures, we'll harvest broccoli in the spring. So I've got broccoli planted on a double row, and I've got lettuce, fast-growing stuff in the middle, lettuce, bok choy. I think there's chop soy in there. And then over here, we planted just some random stuff around the edges that I had seeded. Bok choy, collards, mustards, maybe some more chop soy. Oh, I've got some Napa cabbage down there. And then we just mixed a bunch of old seeds together and spread them in the middle here, and we've got a ton of germination. There are lettuces, radishes, beets, I think, maybe some kale and stuff like that. Just all kinds of old mixes or old seeds I weren't sure if they were okay. All kinds of stuff in there. So that'll be fun. Hi, girls. These are all my pullets that I grew this year. They're all hatched here. Such pretty girls. Hi, lady. She's the only one we didn't hatch. That's our McMurray free chicken. She's a silver leghorn, and she's always the one out. So we've got a couple of splash red, lace blue Wyandottes. I think there's a black, red lace blue Wyandotte in there. There she is, right there. She's so beautiful. And then we've got some crested cream leg bars. We're working on building a better crest on some of these, on our flock. So all these really nice crested girls. I'm saving a crested rooster. This guy back here has a pretty good crest, so he might be the keeper. They're in there with my Easter egg rooster right now. We've got some Buff Orpingtons that have started laying. There's a couple of olive eggers in there from my olive egger experiment. There's this girl here, she's a Buff Orpington Easter egger mix, or a 5-year-old mix. She is for my meat flock. And I've not to harvest, but to be a mama. And then I've got another one over there. Oh, and there's a gray copper moran, and I have a black copper moran in there. Such pretty girls. So I'm standing on the food forest. There's strawberries down here, the blueberries, apple tree, and then our big apple tree. So I've decided to do that skinny bed over there as a perennial bed. I had some hibiscus growing, the roselle hibiscus, and I've got to harvest that. I forgot before the frost, and a lot of the blooms got damaged, but there are still some good ones on there. So I've got some perennials that need to go in that bed. This was my okra, my last attempt at okra, because my first attempt didn't go well. Last of the season. There's some old kale from last year. What I'm doing here is saving seed, and then the top ones I'm harvesting, because we ended up letting these get too big. And I think I'm going to put cabbages in this bed. I still have a bunch of seedlings I need to get in the ground. And then I was going to leave this bed over here as flowers, because we did flowers in this bed this year. That was the kitty cat bathroom bed before we fenced everything in. So we did flowers this year. But I'm thinking about going ahead and putting something. I was thinking about it this morning. I may do sprouting broccoli on the edges, because like a double row like these, because that'll be the spring, and then a lot of times I'll wind up letting that go to flower, and then I'll do like I did over here with the seeds in the middle. I'll seed flowers in the middle, so poppies and bachelor's buttons and things like that. That'll bloom in the spring. So that's what I'm thinking about doing with that bed. Of course, we gotta weed eat it first. And then what we did over here, we weed eated really good, put down cardboard and paper, covered it with the compost that we had just gotten out of the hoop coop, and planted and mulched. Now I didn't mulch that bed because we put all those seeds in. But once the seeds are up really good, I'm going to mulch the edges. I probably won't even need to mulch the middle with all the seedlings. This tunnel never did get anything established on it except for the wild morning glory. And I finally just let it go to the wild morning glory. I've got a couple of Everglades tomatoes that are just full of green tomatoes. We usually harvest a huge bowl of Everglades tomatoes right at the frost. And this year they were all green, and I was like, no! But because it was such a light frost, it didn't kill them. So hopefully we'll get a bowl of red tomatoes to last us into November. So I'm going to come over here and give you the view from this angle, and then I think we're done. Oh, I should show you the seedlings. I have another aster over here by the well, by the chickens. So that's the food forest, the winter garden. We did some sweet potatoes and sweet potato in the big bags. We haven't picked the sweet potatoes yet. I'm not expecting a lot. I mainly grew them for the greens for the rabbits, because we planted late. So we'll see. Last shot of the sunflowers. And then the pepper garden. I loved the peppers here. I believe I did peppers here last year. I'm going to do peppers here again next year. It's such a great to have right beside the walkway. They're so pretty. Next year I'm doing all mild peppers. We're going to do the mild jalapenos, the mild habaneros, all the mild ones. So I got some really fun mild peppers that look like hot peppers and taste like hot peppers without the heat for next year. So that's going to be fun. The dahlias did really awesome this year. The dahlias that I started from seed. This is a great little miniature rose that I got on clearance, and I planted some heather around the bottom. Loved this. But the dahlias that we planted from seed, if you follow my page, I've been posting a lot of pictures. This has been one of my favorites. This dark red. I'm not even a fan of red flowers, and I love that one. This one, absolutely gorgeous. I believe one of my friends who I sent some dahlias to, I believe she got this one too. And it is so gorgeous. The bees, this is the bees' favorite. Look at how pretty. It has been so exciting to grow dahlias from seed. I highly recommend it to everyone who starts seeds. I started them, I want to say in January, December or January, and I'll be doing that again this year. And it's been so exciting because you don't know what color they're going to be. And they're all different colors. It's been great. This little arrangement here with the blue spice basil, lavender, and the heather has been really, really nice. There's more sweet potatoes, another fig for my fig collection, and more dahlias. I had a bright lipstick pink dahlia. I had picked all of the blooms because of the frost, so there's not many left. This is my seedling table. These all should have been sold already, but with my back, and then the hurricane all came in the same weekend, and after that the bugs really got on them. So I am selling a few to some of my oldest customers that are just getting a few things. But I've got cabbages, kales, I've got the sprouting broccoli I was telling you about. I did some early Jersey Wakefield cabbages this year. They're like the cone-shaped ones. I've got a bunch of stuff that I had already planted out that I'm probably going to give the rest of it to the chickens. But look at this. These are snapdragons, and they're already blooming. Let me go around to the other side. I can't remember if I started these in August. I want to say I started these in August. And look. Isn't that so cool? I've tried snapdragons before and they did not do this well. And these are planted pretty densely. I was going to separate them, but that's when my back started getting really bad again. So I didn't get those. So they're like really, I'm probably going to pop them out and separate them into 2 or 3 different pieces. I've got some beets, more kale. And then I also started some alyssum. These are going to go into my hanging baskets and the green stalk. These, again, they're very, very densely planted. I'm going to separate these into individual pieces. These are pansies and violas. So that's it for the garden for the summer. So now we wait. We wait until that frost. If we have a good frost and we have good sun the next day, I'm going to try to do a little bit of a frosty garden tour. I'm going to leave a few of the sunflowers out to get frosty sunflower pics. All right, guys. Thank you for coming along for this garden tour. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, let me know. We'll see you next time.